Hi, this is Bill Hitchcock, and I'm just recording this to help you out to do some homework on your data analysis class. As you can see here on the screen, we've got the data analysis on eLearn, and I'm just going to scroll down to the first section, and in there I've got a drop box for the Chapter 1, our Intro to Excel. So if you click on that Dropbox link, you'll see a little bit more information about what it is that I need you to do, and there's a link to a file, an Excel file. So I'm going to click on that. It'll download the file. The other thing you can always do is you can right click on it and choose Save Link As if you want to save that someplace on your computer. But I just clicked on it to have this drop down, and it opens up a file, and now I've got the Chapter 1 Intro for Excel, and what I'm going to do is once I've got that opened, I'm going to click right away File, Save As, and I want to save this someplace that I can find it again. So I'm going to go to Browse, save it on my C drive. I'll just put it into a folder, say my temporary folder, or what I might recommend to you is if you create your own folder, make one CIT221 Data Analysis, and that way you can keep all of your work right in that folder and always be able to find it. So I'll open up that folder, go to my file name, and I'm just going to call this the Intro to Excel Homework Sample, and I'll hit Save, and there I've got my spreadsheet saved. Now you can see on the spreadsheet there's a number of different tabs for all the assignments that are in the textbook that you have. So I'm going to start on the leftmost one. That's the documentation tab. On this one, I always want to encourage you, put a documentation sheet on all your workbooks, make it the leftmost one, and you can add a few different things. Up at the top, we'll put, I just put in the chapter name, and on this cell you can see that I used the Merge and Center. So actually when I typed in this data, I typed it into cell A1. So there I've got Chapter 1 Intro to Excel. Selected the two cells A1 and B1. So I can either use my shift and click, or if I hit shift and my arrow tab to cursor across there, then I'm going to choose Merge and Center. So update that, enter the chapter number and name there. The start page, that just comes from your textbook, so dig up your textbook, find out what page you start on, find out what page it ends on, and then the pages and chapter is actually a calculation. It takes cell B3, which is the 150, minus B2 plus 1, so that way if for some reason that the chapter was only one page long, and I had the start page was 68, the end page is 68, I'd have one page in the chapter. That's why I add 1 to it. So let's set that back to 150. So there's 83 pages. Here where it says completed by, obviously I want you to type your name in there. So go ahead, type in your name, not mine. The date that you complete this on, I'm actually working on this on 5/19/2018, and hit enter. Notice that when I entered that in, I typed it in MMDDYYY format. In other words, the month, the day, and the year. Down below that I've got today is. Here it's just a function, so I use the today function. It returns whatever the current date happens to be on my computer. And then down below I've checked this to see how many days it's been since completion, and I suppose it's theoretical that I could have the number just be one day since completion. So if I would have completed this yesterday, it's been 1 day since completion. So we do a calculation on that. Then finally down here for the worksheets, this is all the work that you happen to do. So maybe I want to choose, I want to do E01P1, the math assignment, and I'm guessing that one's going to take me 10 minutes to complete it. We'll find out how long it really does. Then I'm also going to do the E01P3, the theater, and let's just say that that one took me 20 minutes. I've got a total that keeps on popping up here, and then finally I'm going to add one more. So what I need to do is I need to insert a row. So I'll right click on this, choose insert, and then I can copy one of my previous records. So I'll copy that down here, and we'll change this to E01M1 rentals, and we can enter in that and say that that one takes me 35 minutes to complete. And as I'm doing that, I want to double check my minutes, find out, it took me a little over an hour to complete these things. If you change in these numbers, really this one only took me 15 minutes. My total time to complete it updates, and that looks pretty good. So I've made some of those changes. I'm going to save this. Then I have to make a decision. All right, if I was working on these, here's my math one that I worked on. I'm going to hold my control key. I said the theater one and the rentals. Notice that I can select non-adjacent sheets by holding the control key and clicking on each of those sheet tabs. Then I'll right click on them, choose a tab color, and highlight those sheets that I completed. So I've got my documentation sheet and these other three. Now for the rest of the sheets, I can kind of make a decision. All right, do I want to leave that? Do I not want to leave it? If for some reason I don't want to include those, I'm just going to right click on that sheet tab, choose delete, delete that one out. So kind of your choice. I would say it probably makes it a little less cluttered if you delete those sheets, but if you ever want to keep them and use them later on or something like that, leave them in. Again, your choice. All right, I've got this worked on that. I'm going to save this one more time just because I've been making some changes. The last thing I always want you to do is I want you to set up these sheets so we can print them and have it this looks professional. So what we'll do is we'll right click on any one of the sheet tabs, choose select all sheets, and notice down at the bottom all these are highlighted. So anything that you type in, if I would type something into cell D1, it's going to go on every single one of those sheets in D1, so be a little careful here. But what you do want to do is click on page layout, go to the print titles tool in this page setup group. I want to choose the header and footer and go to the custom header. Now you can see I've already typed in some of this stuff, but you're going to need to update a few things. So for example, I've got name, it says put your name here. Well, I'll delete this out and go ahead and type in my name as though I was the student. Tab over to the middle. If you're not taking this during the summer, we could always update this, say that I want to take this in the fall of 2018. We could update that, but I'll put this back to the summer. Then to the right, I've got date printed. So it's already there, but I'll show you how I set this up. I just typed in the words date, space, printed, a colon, another space, and then up here there's all these different tools that will give you some information. Think of them as variables. So this one here is the little date tool. It looks like a flip calendar. I click that. That way this ampered date will return the current date based on what your computer thinks it is. In this case, Saturday, May 19th. So I'll hit OK. Custom footer, I've got the file name listed. I've got the page number of how many pages there are in the entire workbook. So I'd have page 1 of 37, page 2 of 37, page 3 of 37, and so on. The reason I always want to include the total number of pages in the report is that way if you staple this together, you lose a page. You want the user to know that, hey, something's missing. And then finally we have the sheet tab. That's just the names that are marked down here so you know exactly what sheet it is. For this file name, there is an option. You can use this tool. It gives you the entire file path. That one gets a little bit long, especially if you bury your files in, say, a bunch of folders and so on. Usually, if you just have the file name itself, you can always search for that on your computer and be able to find it. Alright, so I'll hit OK. I'm going to click on Print Preview, and take a look at some of my pages. So I've got 12 pages. Here's one of 12. This is the documentation sheet. Notice it's got my name up there in the header. We've got today's date. I've got the file name listed here, page 1 of 12, and then the sheet is the documentation. So I'm going to click on the next one. This is my, let's see, the markup sheet that I had. Go on to my next page. Here's, looks like the math problem sheet. And all of a sudden, if you look on page 4, this one's kind of, what is this? And what it is, apparently this sheet was a little bit too wide. So we've got some extra text here. So I'm going to want to clean that up. All right, those are the kinds of things we want to look for as we page through this report and just kind of glance and see how does everything starting to look. You know, do we need to make some adjustments? You know, and sure enough, on that very last sheet, or page 10, I guess it is, you know, there's another one where not quite fitting on there. That's not all that great. But the last one doesn't look too bad. So there's a couple sheets that we do want to clean up. So I'm going to go back. I want to ungroup these sheets, because again, if you don't and you start typing something in your spreadsheet, it'll go on all of those. So I'll right click and choose ungroup. Let's see, markup, we said that was fine. I'm just looking at the page, the dotted page break here. Here's the math one. This one's, see how the text kind of bled over that page? So what I'm going to do on this page, I'm going to change the orientation to landscape. And now suddenly it's much wider. And if you want to just check that page quickly, go back, go to Print Preview, and sure enough, this is just page, all fits on one page. So that looks better. The theater was alright, the rentals was okay, the houses are fine, properties are fine. Here's the tips. Let's try changing the orientation, see if that helps a little bit. And we'll scroll down through this. Yeah, that looks like that's going to fit on one page. And we should be pretty good. So I'll go back to my initial sheet, save this. I can click, choose print one more time. I'm going to change, I want to print the entire workbook. And now we're down to 10 pages rather than 12. So, you know, we should save a sheet or two of paper, so that's a good thing. All right, finally we're all done. We're going to save this, and you can close it up, submit your work, and that should take care of it. So that's what I want to do for every single homework assignment.